Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So I'm Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So we shall go straight over to those charts and, well, look at that sell-off. Look at that sell-off that we had yesterday morning. We were looking at the rejection of this trend line. We were at the trend line looking to either close that 4-hour candle above it, try and then get above 60, above the 64,000 and continue on upwards. That was the upside scenario. The downside scenario was clearly that we got rejected at that trend line, came back down, lost that level that we were getting supported at, that 62 level, and then come down to test the next level at 60k, which is what we did. And we had a small bounce, but then failed at that level and then came cascading all the way down. So if we just extend this, just extend this box along as well, just obviously this is now relevant for price action again. This is going to obviously be a new level of level of resistance now. Not a new level, it always was the level there, but a level that we can potentially struggle against. So then what else did we do? We lost this trend line as well that we had drawn in. We also lost the 55,000. And we pretty much dipped all the way into and through, sliced through this support zone on a week basis before finding ourselves back pretty quickly at the $55,000 level, where we are trying to obviously push on from now. You can see this whole move down. We relatively pretty much at the midpoint of it. So this is sort of the midpoint retest. Which incidentally does coincide with this trend line we've got drawn in. So have we broken this trend line? Are we forward check, back checking, and we're going to pay check to the downside this trend line, and potentially then come all the way down to test the the next important level below the one obviously we've previously just sliced through, of around 46k. So obviously this one here. So if we do obviously come down, take this level out again, we will be looking at potentially down to 46k, and obviously we have this midpoint as well we'll extend along as well. So we have got targets to the downside, but as we very much do see in Bitcoin, when we do get these big moves to the downside, they can often be that can pretty much be the move, but doesn't necessarily have to be that case. We could still easily have more juice in this tank. And also I have always posed the idea that we could still be trading sideways within a wider range. Obviously we were printing higher highs, which is good. We have now actually relative to here, we didn't print a lower low. It's very fine margins here, but yet not a lower low at present. If we hold this level, I did say that this low here was a pretty aggressively high low, and realistically we could have expected nearer to this trend line or below, but that was clearly a bullish sign, which did precipitate some very bullish action. But it does seem like the market did get ahead of itself, and we haven't really seen a big candle like this in a while, probably since back here, and even this candle wasn't quite as big, I don't think. So yeah, we have there is a shock to the system for the old leverage traders that have just been looking at this price action, thinking that something like this wasn't necessarily on the cards. And yeah, I'm sure a few people had orders in that then got filled and liquidated, or some people had positions and then more buys and then hit their stops. And yeah, that's basically why you get these crazy wicks down in Bitcoin, because of the proliferation of leverage trading. So we are not, like I said, out of the woods yet. We're pretty much at this midpoint of this candle, looking to try and obviously reclaim this trend line, reclaim the midpoint of the overall move down, and also get above this important horizontal. So I think once we can get back above 58.5, which is pretty much what I'm getting deja vu. It's pretty much what I was talking about before when we were trying to get above here and trying to make the move to the upside. Yeah, it's the same level. If we get back above 58.5, then we could potentially be looking good for this being the low. And it does look like a pretty good candidate for this low. And yes, so we could be looking like flushed out all of the over leveraged positions and found the market, the whales, the manipulators have found some liquidity that they've filled their boots with, and now are ready to drive price onwards and upwards. So that could be the scenario. Clearly, like I've said, it is always just a game of levels as ever. And if we do come back down, do take out this 52,000 level, especially take out the low of this candle, then realistically, I wouldn't expect this level to hold us. I would suggest we're going to come down to this one for around the 46k. So there we go. Over to Ethereum, Bitcoin though. Nothing really to see here, which is good. It is good to see such a savage move down in Bitcoin and Ethereum not get hit. So this was one of the scenarios I was talking about where this could obviously struggle, but it hasn't. It's held strong. So that is actually a very, very encouraging. And yeah, as you can see, Bitcoin dominance itself. That also did have a bit of a pullback. It's not anything of note to say the move we've had in Bitcoin, and we have just come back to this horizontal level we can see. So are we gonna roll this over and continue down? We shall see. We'll have to see how the market digests this once CME's open and then traditional markets open up. The Ethereum USD pairing though clearly this is basically going to be doing exactly the same as what Bitcoin's done, on the basis that the Ethereum BTC pairing has not moved. This is obviously just done what Bitcoin's done. So yeah, as you can see, we came down, we did test this horizontal here and find ourselves back above this horizontal here and back in this zone. So this is fine. This is pretty much an okay zone for Ethereum to be trading, anywhere between 2,400 and 2,100. It's a very big range, I know, but trading sideways, consolidating here, building that head of steam again to move onwards and upwards is what we want. Obviously, we know take out this horizontal, we can potentially come down to try and take out this candle and then play out downside. That's clearly on the cards. Not clearly on the cards, but that's just clearly the scenario we need to look out for if that is going to play out that way. And then also above 24,000, we can probably see just continuing onwards and upwards if we do get back above there especially anytime soon, because it would look pretty bullish if this gets bought up that quickly that soon, put it that way. So stochastics, we were looking at them yesterday, weren't we? The some of the 410 and 12 hours were giving us that bearish bias for sure. So yeah, 4 hours trying to turn back up from a deep level now. 10 hour is clearly being slow and going to be diving, and yeah, see the 10 hour was obviously diving down yesterday and is now looking to turn back up. 12 hour also had turned down and is still coming down, so still downward pressure from here, and then daily back down as well. The 2-day has turned down again, 3-day down, 5-day has turned down, weekly is looking to turn down. So even some of the higher time frames are, but they will, with such a savage move to the downside, it will clearly have an effect on them. And if we do start to retrace that, get back above 58.5k, consolidate here, those will start to turn back up and we will start to look okay again, and it will then just look like a bullish reset of some of these higher time frame stochastics. But no doubt this is a Bitcoin type move. This is the type of move that comes out of well, we could say left field, but we all know it's there waiting to happen in the Bitcoin price action. It just happens when, well, obviously once it's lulled people into the false sense of security, that is not going to happen. And yeah, there we go, rejected by this trend line, catapulted through our levels. When we did get rejected from this yesterday after the yesterday's morning's video, and we're coming back down, it clearly then made it more likely we're going to lose this horizontal, because we're coming to test it again after getting rejected from a lower high. So obviously that's not going to indicate such a savage move down, but it did obviously it did precipitate that move, didn't it? So it got us down to the next level, which we just blasted straight through. So yeah, there you go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.